What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Eric, and today we're going to talk about the film Lightyear. I checked it out last night. I'm going to give my thoughts on this movie about Buzz Lightyear. This is the toy, similar to the toy that Andy used to have. Now, Andy had this toy because he was a huge fan of a movie that starred Buzz Lightyear. And this new film is that movie. At least that's what we're told. I'll get into my thoughts on that in a moment. Is this really the movie that Andy saw back in 1995? Let's start the review with some positives about this movie, Lightyear. And I think it goes without saying, the animation or whatever you would call it, the Pixar work is fantastic. The film looks really good. It's a well-made film as far as just appearance and the acting and the voice actors and all that. Everything looks good. And I will say I did kind of get invested in this movie in the third act, which is what you want. You want a movie that is going to have a good payoff at the end. There were some awesome payoffs from certain characters. I'll get into a little more of that. This is going to be spoiler free. I'm going to do my best to keep it spoiler free. So I'm going to try to be vague, but I thought the third act was the best part. I thought there was a cool twist. I thought there was a cool moment, multiple cool moments for the different characters, kind of cool payoffs from things that happened earlier that are paid off later. That's always cool to see. I thought that was executed well. And ultimately, it just, the third act things kind of ramp up, and that's what you want. And I thought it was pretty fun at the end. So I will say that, I wasn't ready to walk out or anything by the end of the movie. The villain, Zurg, is here, and it had to be Zurg, right? It had to be Zurg. And Zurg is given a pretty interesting storyline that I didn't see coming at all. Maybe I should have. Maybe it's already known in the Toy Story universe. I'm not really sure, but I didn't know about it. Now, I said this before in my quick out of the theater review. I'm a huge fan of the Toy Story movies, but it's not like I'm a diehard that goes into all the details of all the characters and all their backstory. I don't know really all that. I just remember going to the theaters and really loving all four Toy Story movies. Owning them, watching them from time to time, and, just going and just marathoning the whole franchise from time to time. But, I'm not like the biggest diehard fan in the world, but I certainly love all four movies. I think they're hilarious. That's the key for the Toy Story movies. They are extremely funny. And that brings me to my negatives. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of positives, unfortunately. I wish I had more positives for this movie. But for me personally, even though it wasn't terrible, even though it wasn't like completely boring at all, I wouldn't say that. Even though I enjoyed the third act, I thought it had a cool twist. The movie wasn't that funny to me, and that's really what it was trying to do. It was pretty obvious because there was jokes throughout the entire runtime, and the kind of humor it had just didn't really work for me. It just wasn't funny to me. Now, it could be funny to other people, and kids may love this movie, but it just didn't make me laugh. Toy Story movies all do, but this one did not make me laugh almost at all. The only character that even made me laugh was the character of Mo, who was pretty funny, and I enjoyed him. He's probably my favorite character in the movie. But other than that, the type of humor, it was just the kind of humor where, someone's saying something like, oh, everything is fine, and then boom, something happens really quick. You kind of see it coming, and then they say some joke, and it's hard to explain, but it's just over and over and over and over and over where, I'm glad everything is fine now. Oh, maybe not. And it's just kind of humor like that. And it wasn't that funny. It was predictable. And there are some interesting themes in this movie, but they are predictable as well. Because early on in the movie, Buzz will just continue to hammer some thought he has, an opinion that he has, and he just says it over and over and over and over and over and over, and you're like, well, I wonder if this is going to be part of his arc towards the end. It's like it was a little bit too much for me, but again, this is a kids movie. Clearly, I mean, Toy Story movies are kids movies too, but movies that I enjoy. The first Toy Story came out when I was 15. I was already kind of an older kid, and I thought it would be dumb, like for younger kids. I loved it, and that's applied to every single sequel since. This one I didn't think was very funny, but that's just it. This movie's very thematic, and it's very much a movie with a lot of messages, and a very deep movie in terms of it's not just a Buzz Lightyear movie to infinity and beyond, saving the world, going out and doing awesome Buzz Lightyear things, taking on Zurg, a simple movie that you thought was the movie that Andy saw when he was a kid and why he was a fan of Buzz Lightyear. It just felt like a simple movie. Not this movie. This definitely was not a 1995 movie that Andy saw, in my opinion. There's just no way. This is more of a movie that, I don't know, it's more of a third movie in that trilogy where you have to, something more has to be done than just a simple Buzz Lightyear film, in my opinion. But, this movie wasn't really the movie that Disney said, hey, what's most likely the movie that Andy saw that made him a fan of Buzz Lightyear? No, they made the movie they wanted to make. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, for me, it doesn't feel like the movie that Andy watched. But I can forgive that. I really don't care. I can say, oh no, actually this is the movie that Andy watched. Screw it, whatever. Even though it doesn't feel like it, that's fine. As long as this movie kept me entertained and I thought was really good. And it just didn't keep me that entertained. The humor was too much. It was just constant joke. And none of it was funny. Like I said, barely any of it was funny. I laughed twice and just very mild, So it wasn't funny to me. That's the key. And probably as the third act kicks off, I'm like, this movie's not going to be good. I'm not going to like this movie at all. But only some interesting twists that I didn't really see coming. Maybe I should have, but I didn't, is what saved the movie. And a third act with some pretty good action. There were some pretty, relatively edge of your seat moments. I'm not saying like super edge of your seat. Come on, it's a cartoon. It's a PG movie about Buzz Lightyear. But I thought there was some pretty cool moments at the end. And I also have to mention not bringing back Tim Allen made no sense to me. I know why. I think I know why they didn't bring him back. Chris Evans was fine. He kind of has a similar voice, so it does make sense. This is not the toy. I get that. This is not the toy. This is the movie. But if you look at some other examples like Woody, you can pull a little string and says, I got a snake in my boot. It's Tom Hanks' voice. And then he sounds like Tom Hanks. And then when you watch the little cartoons and stuff, he sounds like Tom Hanks. So in his TV show, he sounded like Tom Hanks. And he really did sound like Tom Hanks. And the toy, when you pull the thing, sound like Tom Hanks. Everything, he had the same voice. So I think it would make sense to have him have the same voice. And why not? Toy Story fans hearing that voice, hearing Tim Allen's voice, even though the voice is not that much different. He's a similar voice in a way, or he tried to sound similar. Still, why not bring back Tim Allen? So what if he's conservative? If that's why. At least they brought him back for Toy Story 4. I'll give him that. And hopefully if there's a Toy Story 5, I don't know of any plans up there to be one. I kind of hope there's not. But if there is, they're best to bring back Tim Allen. But I think it was just a silly decision to recast him based on something like that. Because the guy's alive and well and capable and probably able and willing to come back. So it just, why not just do everything you can to give the movie the best chance of success? And you don't bring back Tim Allen. It just didn't do a lot for me. But again, this is a movie. Kids may love this movie. They may love this movie. Most of them probably will. Some adults will find a lot of enjoyment in it, and I found some enjoyment in it. I didn't think it was that good, but that's just me. That's just me. To me, it's a see it if you're bored type movie. Check it out, but don't expect a whole lot from it. That's my opinion, and ultimately, this is definitely not the movie that Andy saw, in my opinion, in 1995 to make him a huge fan of Buzz Lightyear. I don't believe that at all. This is the movie that Disney wanted to make. This has the themes and everything that Disney wanted us to see. But shout out again to some of the characters. I do like the kind of band of, misfits, band of just wannabe space rangers that, Buzz has to work with. I kind of like that theme where you have these three people who have no idea what they're doing, and he kind of has to work with them. I do kind of like that. It's pretty fun. But so I'll say, there's some moments that I like. It's not trash. It's not bad. It's not a pass. It is see it if you're bored, in my opinion. But guys, have a fantastic day. Let me know what you think down in that comment section below. I appreciate you checking out the video. And have a great day. I wish it was better. I really wanted to like this movie, but I just didn't think it was that great. That's just me. You guys might love it. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.